The following things can eat someone's ears on earth. And by the time you're waking up, it is already too late to make adjustments that can still make you succeed. Now, the first one is wrong association or wrong relationship. Now, if you're the type that is hanging around people who you don't share the same philosophy of life with, if you hang around people who the only things you can discuss is where next are we having parties, I mean, those are the kind of things that you discuss, but there is no way you can discuss anything that is growth-oriented, something that can develop your life. And you remain in such groups and association for years. Believe you me, the day you will wake up, you will realize that some of the people you hang around with, that you talk all kinds of things with, some of them have certain things that they do in secret to develop their personal lives. And the day you wake up, you discover some of them have gone ahead. And the only thing you can say that this person, these are the people that we used to hang around with. These are the people that we used to do all kinds of things with. But you didn't know that they're doing certain things to develop their personal lives while you're doing completely nothing to develop your personal life. And the next thing is jealousy sets in and depression and all kinds of stress. Why? Because you didn't wake up early enough to focus on your life. The other aspect of relationship is when you are dating someone for so long and the person does not define that relationship. In 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and so on, you're just dating, probably you're even together, but the relationship has not been defined. Then one day they just pick an excuse, something very flimsy, something very minute, and peg it on you, and that forms the reason as to why they have to discard you off their life. Then you remain to cry. Yes, you wasted the years because it was not defined. So if you see a relationship that is consuming years, but the direction of this relationship has not been defined, you better ask questions so that you know where you stand. Otherwise, one day you will stand to look at the years that you've wasted after you have been jilted. Don't wait for that time to come. You better ask for things to be defined from the word go so that you know the direction that you are taking in life. The second thing that can consume people's lives is wrong addiction. People can be addicted to so many things, habits that can render their life inactive for so many years. You know, some people are so consumed into drug addiction to the point that their years of productivity are consumed in such kind of a habit. And when they wake up finally, they discover it is too late, their energy is gone, their enthusiasm is gone, and there is nothing important that they can do well with their life. You see, addiction goes beyond your logic. And so you can know very well that this thing is wrong, but you can't just come out of it because you're already a slave to it. But you can begin to desire the freedom. You can begin to desire to come out of it. And it's a matter of time, you will be finally free. You better begin your journey out of that strong addiction before it consumes your ears on earth. The third thing that can eat someone's ears is wrong job, staying in a job that you hate. There are people who know very well that I don't belong here. They know very well that that is not their area. They hate it, they don't like it, but they have to stay there because that is what pays their bills, number one. And the worst is that they have to stay there because they have taken loans which have tied them to that job. So they would want to come out, but they cannot come out. Why? Because they've been tied to that job that they hate because of the loans. And what happens? After settling that loan for many years, you take another one because you could not do anything constructive because your salary was going to the servicing of the loan. So you take another one that keeps on increasing your years in that job. When such a person finally retires, he or she is likely to be very bitter. Why? Because they feel like their years were consumed in a job that they hated. I'm not trying to incite you to leave that job now. Please don't. Now, what happens is this. Don't just walk out of a job emotionally. Prepare your landing ground before you walk out of it. You can decide to strategize that after these years, I will have settled this loan, I will have done this. So when I leave, I'll be able to land on something else. Otherwise, just walking out of a job emotionally can lead you to serious frustration. But begin to charter your way out of that job that you don't like. Otherwise, it can lead to serious frustration after you realize that has consumed your years on earth. If you know there is something inside you, something that you need to be doing, then go and learn from DJs. When a DJ wants to introduce a new music, they don't just stop the previous one and bring in the new one. No. What they do is that they kind of exchange it slowly in such a way that there'll be no halt in between, but somehow the music will blend and the other one will take over the same beat. You won't even know something happens. Now, what do? You build this side, you also continue with this side in such a way that there'll be harmonious exchange when you're beginning to focus on the new thing. Otherwise, don't just stop emotionally. The fourth thing that can consume your years on earth is the so-called the over-ambitious. Being too over-ambitious. You are expecting too big things than the reality on the ground. Now, someone who is over-ambitious can live in reverie, can live in fantasy. They talk about big things, and if you check their reality, the dots are not connecting. Now, this is someone who can postpone taking an action because they are waiting for the situation to be perfect before they begin. And so they can say things like, by the time I have this, this, and that, I will now do this and that. By the time I have this, by the time I do this, by the time this happens. If you keep focusing on that big thing to happen fast before you begin, you may wait for so long. If you're waiting for that lump sum of money to come at once before you begin something, it may take years before it comes. If you're waiting for ideal situation to do something, it may not happen within your time frame. You need to be realistic and be ready to begin at some level. Be ready to begin small. That cock was once an egg. If you can't begin small, believe you me, you will postpone for many years, and by the time you even want to do it, it will have taken too long. So begin now with what you have.